It's just the stats. Reggie Johnson, Eugene Morgan, coming to you from the lovely city of Atlanta, Georgia, and Eugene. I'm so excited to be on today. We got some NBA trades. We have to talk the trades, man. And we love this time of the year, man. It's sad because NBA ends, but you get so much insight on the future of the league, right? The
Right.
future of the association with the trades and the draft and all that stuff. And we'll talk draft later in our podcast show. Welcome to our YouTube channel here. We're going to discuss the NBA trades and who got better here. We got some trades to discuss that are very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I guess we'll discuss them. I don't want to say in order, but I guess kind of in order of importance because of the type of players. So, of course,
you don't want to talk about the Indiana Lakers,
man. No. Goodness gracious, no, absolutely not. I'm not. We're not talking any of these trading late picks, any of these picks that were traded for like 2030. You have some teams trading 2030 picks, 2029 picks. We're not going to talk that stuff. We're going to talk the actual players.
Gotcha.
Because we know kind of what's going on here with them, man. And I think we got to start with the Bradley Beal situation, which happened right after we did our last show. So I had to edit it out of our last show here. Just a little behind the scenes there. But, this is interesting to me for a variety of reasons, because it wasn't just the Beal to the Sun situation. It was also CP3 that went. I don't even think he flew out to Washington. I figured he wasn't going to make that trip, but he's now in Golden State. Poole's now going to the Wizards. So it's a lot going on there with that Washington team, right?
Yeah.
Now, Beal to the Suns. This is a situation to me where two things can be true. One of them is, if you're the Suns, if I was the Suns, I do make this trade. Landry Shamet, CP3, some picks, yes.
Yep.
I'm making this trade. At the same time, I don't know if they're better than Denver with this trade. They went in, or came out of the season, I should say, being a little top heavy. You could argue that if Beal was on the Suns during this last playoff run, they have a better run, maybe so. But I think Beal's had some lingering injury issues. I think that's also something that's concerning, because now your three guys have all had injury issues, and it's not like CP3 didn't. So I'd still make this trade 100%. But I think there's another trade that needs to be made.
Yep.
And that is DeAndre Ayton. It's another trade. You got to fill your team. You need guys, man. You need guys, Eugene. Like, you need bodies out there. Like, I think they got exposed. Their depth got exposed during this last playoff run. And I don't know if Beal just going to the Suns addresses that. So I feel like they're going to have to trade DeAndre and get a few guys back, some bodies you can run out there.
Right.
Get some competent minutes too. And I'm not really aware of all of their financial implications here. Like, I'm not sure how much cap space they got, or I don't know if they have a whole team signed at this point in time. But I do think that, and I used, it's funny, as I was on another sports show and I used your league pass team, and they got a kick out of that. I was like, this is, the Suns are a nice league pass team now. Tell you that. You're going to want to watch those games, man.
Yeah.
Those running around out there. Yes. We want to watch those. Put butts in the seats. Absolutely. Going to put butts in the seats there. Better than Denver? I don't think so right now. I don't think so right now. You're going to need some more guys. You can't have them running the Aaron Gordons of the world, Michael Porter Jr.'s of the world out there.
Right.
You're going to need somebody. You're going to need some people to deal with that. So I do like this trade, because I feel like it's a good trade for both teams. Washington Wizards have embraced their ticket to rebuild land. Hopefully it's not a one-way ticket.
Right.
Hopefully they'll be back to prosperity here at some point. But they're on the plane to rebuild land, is what they're all aboard type situation, right? Like they're embracing it. I think one of the things that I love about teams that embrace this perspective is they actually believe it. Like, those teams that go in and have two guys, maybe an all-star and a half on their team, and think that they're going to compete with teams that have 2 or 3 all-stars on their team.
Yeah, right.
And depth, it's kind of like you're delusional. Like, you're going to need the bodies. You don't have the bodies to compete. you
Right.
might as well just embrace the rebuild. You know what I mean? Say, hey, this is going to be a process. We're going to tear this thing down to the studs, build it back up, and we'll be a better team.
Yep.
What are your thoughts there on that trade?
No, I love it. I mean, I know we talked about Portland not going all in when they had the chance. It's just like,
We'll definitely
okay,
discuss them. We'll discuss
yeah, I mean,
Portland in a little bit later here.
right, but I just think it's amazing, and it's good for your fan base too, right? Your fans know, okay, this is it. We're going all in to rebuild,
Yes,
and
yes.
and that's it could be fun, and this I know we're gonna talk about players they got back, but they don't have. It's not like they're putting a bunch of just scrub guys out there. They've got a pretty good. They're gonna field a pretty good team. Like it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be like bad like San Antonio. But it's not. They could possibly be like the Jazz last year, right? Just surprise you in the beginning, but fade away towards the end. Just they got some good guys back there. But yeah, your point is spot on. Beal, I like it for him because he's never proven to me that he's a number one guy, a number two guy. So he can go in there to that.
He was
number
2 when Walt was there, right? And they were
Eh,
they were on a decent little run there.
yeah.
Walt was there.
Yeah, I've just never thought him as like he's always been more of kind of that bottom tier of the two, but closer to year three. So I think if
He
it's
can give
nice
you
in there,
30. He has
what's
it
that?
in him.
He
He can give you
does.
30.
He can, but he hasn't looked that way in the last couple of years. But again, it could be like I said, Washington, change the scenery. You're gonna be in Phoenix. Fans are gonna love them. But yeah, they've got to fill out their roster because the scary part is Denver won the championship with you could poke some holes in their roster, right? And they're going to improve their roster, and they're going to be able to because most guys, who's going to want to go play now? Are you going to want to go play in Phoenix? If you're like that kind of mid-tier rotational guy, or are you going to go play in Denver? Hey, if all I got to do is cut to the basket, and someone's going to throw me the ball, right? So but I think, and I haven't heard, but I think they're gonna have to trade him.
I think they should trade.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are, but I
they
definitely
should.
they should.
They should because you need at least when regular season it's gonna be fine. They're just those three guys, and let's just say they don't trade DeAndre. They're a 50 plus. They're a 50 game. That's a 50
man. Still a fun team to watch,
win.
right?
Fun team to watch.
Yes.
But when you get to playoffs, we know you get in at least 6 or 7 guys. You need 7 guys that you can count on. You can get through the season.
Are every night penciled in,
right?
Nightly, right?
Nightly, because when Porter Jr. was off, what did Malone do? Oh, well, I'm just going to throw one of my other guys in there, KCP or Brown or whoever, So and they don't have that luxury. It's those 3 guys, and maybe and DeAndre's not he's not a scrub out there, but it's
no belief in campaign, huh?
No, I would not resign that guy if I'm them.
Campaign man gave me some competent minutes on my fantasy team. I'm a fan.
But yeah, that's what they need to do. So they got to fill the roster, and the good thing is there's a ton of free agents out of this. It's not a deep free agent class, but there's a ton of guys out there that can fill out their roster spots with. The glue
let's
guys.
hope they have the money to actually do it. What do you think about the CP3 to Golden State? Is kind of a mad move for me because I just don't know. I want where no matter what team CP3 goes to, that's the team I want to win the chip.
Yes.
Of course, my Hawks, who are not going to be competing right now. But of course, I want CP3 to win a chip. I like seeing that style of play be rewarded. He's been good to the game. I want to see the game be good to him.
Yes.
That being said, you have to play the games. Like you have to play.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play. He's been snake bitten postseason. You can't. Yeah. It sucks. Do you bubble wrap him until the second half of the season? What do you do with CP3 there in Golden State?
Come off the bench. He just
really
his career.
Is it time? Is it that time?
I think so, because you don't want him doing because he kind of does the same thing. Because I know Draymond, he declined the option, but I'll find his point, right? He's going to come back. So
I think he's going to be back. Yeah,
I think he's going to be back too. So and that's the thing. I think he comes out with that second unit. Play him
Really?
20 minutes a
This
game.
would be the first time, right? Because he didn't come off
Yep.
the bench with Phoenix.
Right. But because again, that's where I would want him. And like you said, why play him 30 plus minutes? He's not. You need to keep him healthy. I just would rather. And here's a guy who's figured out. Right. He's played all different kinds of style. I think he's just such a smart guy. I think he's going to figure it out. And like I said, when I saw it, I was like, I don't know how this is going to fit, but let's CP3's played with more of a ball dominant guy when he was with in Houston when he played with Harden. So he's and that's I saw a stat. He's every team that he's been on, he's made them better. Like he's improved their
Yeah,
work
absolutely. When
percentage.
he was in Oklahoma City, they're better. When
Yep.
he was in Houston, like he's a great basketball IQ guy
Yep.
who can affect your team in more ways than one, than just what the stats show.
Yep.
So I think that he is a great player and welcome addition to Golden State.
Yep.
The pool situation you can argue has been doomed ever since the situation that he had with Draymond, and you can some people say that never got better. I don't know if it did or not,
Right.
but they definitely didn't have it this past year. It's hard for me to believe that CP3 goes to Golden State. Everybody on Golden State's a year older, and they're now like better than Denver or something like that. It's still similar to the Sun situation where I could still kind of see them where they're at unless Wiggins takes another step. Now Wiggins did miss significant time
Right.
past year, so maybe he's back. I've always liked Wiggins. And then we can see, because CP3 come off the bench, of course, but I just got to get to I've seen this movie so many times. I got to see them get to the end of the season and see where he is at. What do you think about the Marcus Smart to Memphis situation, Porzingis to Boston? Who came out better there? I kind of like, the Smart to Memphis. Let me speak on this for a second because Marcus Smart is very similar to Draymond Green to me to Boston. So
yeah,
sometimes, and we talked about this before show, there's a band called Limp Bizkit. I think maybe they're still touring. I don't know. But Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst, Wes Borland, all those guys. At one point, Wes Borland was not a part of the band. I'm not sure if he is now or not, but at one point he wasn't. And you still had your front guy there, though, right? You still had Fred Durst. Fred Durst, still your front guy, still there. You feel like, hey, nothing's really going to change. You still got our guy here. But the band was not the same when Wes left. He wasn't the front guy, but it wasn't the same group.
Right.
I feel the same about players like Marcus Smart and Draymond Green. They're not the front guys on their teams, but they are part of the team. Like they bring intangibles that don't always show up in the stats to those teams. So I think with Porzingis, you do get you get size, right? You get him coming off the best year of his career. Playing, I think, over 60 games is great for him. But what did you lose? I don't think this is a situation that I don't know if you know what you lost until you start playing the games. Like until you start playing the games, I don't know what that trade-off is.
Right.
You got a scorer, right? You definitely got that size. He's 7'3". You got size. But Marcus Smart, I think, is a great basketball player. And I don't know what they lost there. So it's hard to know. I could see why Porzingis going to Boston has made them like prohibitive favorites, but they probably would have came in close to favorites anyway.
Right.
Especially if they get things done with Jalen and he doesn't move. You would have came into being close to favorites anyway. But with Porzingis now, averaging 23 and 8, I want to say 23, 8 and roughly 3 on the assist. I don't know if Porzingis regresses to the mean. So when you look at his years before, he played 17 games, he played 43 games, he seems to have trouble getting over that 60. I think this is like the second or third time in his career that he's got over that 60. And I think 2 of those were with New York when he very first came into the league.
Right.
I think that those 23 points will help Boston. Sometimes when things went stale out there with Brown and Tatum, it's good to have another guy, right?
Yeah.
It's good to have a guy who we know can put the ball in the hoop. It's not easy to do. So it's good to know that you have that guy out there. But do you lose something with the spirit? That's something that's intangible, Marcus Smart. I don't know. I think that's a great pickup there for Memphis. And maybe this is a situation that works out for both teams. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is you ran this back. It's almost this 7 years now, and yes, you've had some good playoff success. You've gone to the finals twice, but at some point you got to break it up, right? You got to bring in somebody new, at least
Try to get you over that line. You mean like
right?
getting to the line, but
Getting
just to
to the
get you over,
line,
get you that
right?
trophy.
Now, and the good thing with Porzingis that I think that Marcus couldn't do is when he's on the floor, you're gonna have much more spacing, right? You're not gonna be able to, double team a lot. You're gonna have another good shooter on that team. So, and now they're gonna lose, but they're gonna lose a little defense. But I mean,
For sure. Great
they've got
defensive player.
right, but they've still got good defensive in their point, and Derek White is more than capable of stepping in and being their starting point guard. He still plays good defense. It's not he's not like they're not always hunting for him, so he's not going to be obviously the Marcus Smart defensive player of the year, but I think he'll be fine. And but yeah, but it just remains to be seen. What I mean, they were already. They're going to be in that top conversation again next year. Them in Milwaukee. So, but yeah, I like it for Marcus. I like Marcus. Maybe a change of scenery. I mean, I think it's great. 2 defensive players of the year on the same team together. Him and Triple J. That's phenomenal. And they're and that's the one thing the one thing Boston was not missing was that team plays like they're grown-ups, right? They're not. I mean, they've been through some wars together. They know how to play with each other. Memphis was missing kind of, once Adams went out with the injury, he was on the floor. They kind of missed that grown up in the room. And I think that's the thing for Marcus. I like him going there. I think again, they're going to be fine with they were going to be fine with Ja missing those games because they
have been in the past.
Yeah, have been in the past. Yeah, so I just think this helps, and they're gonna love him. Boston love Marcus. I think that's gonna translate well for Memphis. They're gonna love him there. Yeah. So I think it's one of those ones. I think it worked out great for everybody. I like all the moves, and I like Tyrese Jones going to Washington, actually being able to play. A lot of times he's gonna be loved in Washington as well. So as far as like just all the guards got moved, yeah, I love it. I think everyone kind of got what they needed out of this deal.
Okay. Now, what about are we gonna give a couple minutes to Jordan Poole to the Wizards? Is that a mad move also, or what are your thoughts on that? I mean, they got Golden State able to get off a contract.
Yeah, they are able to get off the contract.
Maybe a good fresh air, same kind of James Wiseman situation, or maybe sometimes you need fresh air, different start.
Different start, gonna be able, he's gonna be able to take as many shots as he wants because he's the only kind of the shooter on that team, right, at the moment. But I like it for him, and I think Golden State's going, look, we wasted a prime Steph Curry year. We're not doing it again. They tried to, let's bring in some young guys, trying to bridge the gap, and they did it. It was just they're like, look, we're not wasting another year. We're gonna go all in again. Because let's just face it. I mean, that Lakers year was great, but it could have gone a different way, right? If maybe if Wiggins played a little better, maybe they win that series. Maybe it's a different maybe it's a different series against Denver, right? But with CP3 on that team now and the pull out of there, and they've been saying, and now it's coming out that punch did have a lingering effect for the whole season.
I mean, I can see that.
Right. So I like it. I think everyone won. And I'm sorry, Poole going there. I think that's a good win for him. Bad team, go there and just play. He'll be able to play. You won't have to worry about anybody behind him because he's going to be the guy.
Well, let's give a couple minutes here to Dame Lillard in Portland. It's interesting what Portland did because Lillard hasn't been traded, and I'm hoping this doesn't happen again where we do our show and then there's a trade that comes through same day.
Right
here. We just our luck, but Lillard, as the time of recording, has not been. But it seems like with what they did on draft night with taking Scoot Henderson, that it has been. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the writing is
Right.
on the wall a little bit here. You got Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons, now the kid Henderson. Is there room left for Lillard? And if you're Lillard, do you want that? You got to be the adult in the room here now. Got all these kids that you're playing with. Do you want to go and try to contend somewhere? I am a big fan of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And if we all, I can't say we all, but if some people had their way, then you'd have 1.5 all-stars on a team,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody would just build through the draft and through coming up, grinding it out, kind of doing it the Denver way, right?
Yeah.
Denver grinded it out and they got across the line. And that's
Yep.
kind of like what you want to see. And I like the same thing they kind of do there in Miami as well. But the reality is there are going to be teams of multiple all-stars standing in your way of the promised land. And it's going to be so hard. And even with Denver doing it the right way, that's not Jamal Murray is an all-star. Like he's not a scrub. So you still had two guys there, right? You still had two guys there that are at the top. I think he's going to need to go to a team like that. He can be one of the guys, but he is going to need to go to a team, in my opinion. If he wants to win a chip, it's going to be hard to do in Portland, especially with Portland getting younger now. Looking like they are kind of looking towards their future. I like what Portland's doing. Like I like what they're building there, because I think that Portland themselves are looking for at a future that Lillard made. They're preparing for Lillard.
Yes.
So to walk to a certain degree, right? Whether it's this year, whether it's 2 years online, whether it's 3 years online, whatever.
Right.
But it seems that they're mentally making the preparation for him to step away. So here's the hope, and I hope that something gets done here, because I want to see Lillard really compete at the next level. Let's get a chance to give the guy a chance. He hasn't really had a chance, in my opinion, since McCollum left. I do like Jeremy Grant. Now, I do like some of the pieces they had on their team, and I like the kid Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons as well. I like those kids. But it's kind of like they don't seem there next year to me. You know what I mean? It seems like they're building up, So I would love to see Lillard go to a contender, man. And let's see him go to like a Miami or something like that, man. You get a Lillard, Bam, and Jimmy situation going. Let's. I want to see him mix it up, man.
Yeah,
what a great player. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for tuning into our YouTube channel, tuning into the podcast, Just Stats. Check us out, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And see you next time, guys.